Hello, everybody, and welcome to an episode of You and I Builder Live that I think is going to be specialer than others. My name is Maria Gabriela Ochoa Perez-Wechter, and I'm an app-on product manager on the Agent Experiences team. And with me today is on mute.
That's rough. My name is Brad Tilton. I am also on the Outbound PM team for our agent experiences. Gabby, what are we doing today?
Today, we're doing something super fun. So, I'm sure a lot of us in the chat are familiar with what we're doing today. Today, we're going to start episode 1 of Build Along Month. So, something that I often hear from beginners and people getting started in ServiceNow is that they want to learn more. And the answer always is go build something in the platform. I always say go build something silly, like a Dungeons and Dragons character cheat, like something fun like that. And the hardest part is, though, when you're getting started, is you don't know what all constitutes a full application. So the Build Along Month project is here to hopefully address some of that. So today, uh, Brad's going to be doing the stories blind, basically. Zero prep. Hopefully, if Brad can survive this and can teach us along the way, we'll be able to do this all together. Are you ready, Brad?
I'm ready. Let's do this.
Awesome. So, oh man, I had meant to actually share my screen. Let me do that real quick. Intern, put up my screen, please. Thank you. So this is the web page for Build Along Month. Quick little intro. You've got the introduction and a whole bunch of information that you should totally read. Then this right here, you have some instructions on how to set up your instance, download the update set. And if you're not familiar with how to use update sets, here's how to preview and commit an update set. We're going to begin our video today with just the assumption that we've already got this figured out. And then down here are all the stories. You've got a whole bunch of different things that you can do, but on this show, we're going to be highlighting the UI Builder specific ones. And those are the ones with this little nuts and bolt emoji. You can filter for those and select UI Builder stories. And as you go through and complete the stories yourself, you can checkbox them so you can keep track of what's already been completed. So now with that out of the way, let's go ahead and go to Brad's screen and get started.
All right. So in today's show, I will be playing the role of a developer who has not really looked at the stories yet. I looked at them a little bit, but not much. And so we are going to take a U&I conference notes app that I believe we have generated a workspace experience for this app from App Engine Studio. But we're going to create a custom contact entry page for this app. So when we get into the page, I can tell you why we're doing that and not using this out-of-the-box contact record page. Well, I can tell you now, it's because we want the page to be responsive, which is part of the Xanadu UIB features that we release. So let's go ahead and create a new page. And we're going to call this contact entry. When it loads, we're going to create from scratch.
I'm actually kind of shocked right now that you aren't showcasing like the biggest Xanadu feature right now. It's kind of disappointing, honestly, but we'll get there, I guess.
We all know that I'm a light mode guy.
I can't believe it. I thought we'd be in dark mode.
I can switch to dark mode at some point. Yeah, so there's this new screen here, which is going to allow us to build a responsive page, and build a responsive page is probably a little strong. What we're allowing people to do is basically do a page where you can set breakpoints. And so not all of our components that we ship out of the box right now are responsive. So there is some limitation there. We're working with all of our component teams. If you don't know, we've got we have kind of some centralized teams that own most of the components. And then we have lots of disparate teams that have built components for different purposes. And so we're working with all the teams to get all of the components to be responsive. But I believe everything we're doing today will be working with responsive components. So let's go ahead and hit create. One note about responsive. And I'm going to turn off guided tours. We have a whole bunch of guided tours that we've shipped in UIB and Xanadu. So if you're new to UIB, basically every page has some sort of guided tour. And so you can use those to familiarize yourself with UIB. So one thing about responsive is that responsive pages or responsive can only be applied to net new pages in Xanadu in the Xanadu store release of UIB Forward, and they have to be pages built from scratch. So none of our page templates are responsive yet, and some of the out-of-the-box pages are kind of responsive. But if you have created a page in the past, it may not work with this responsive design. So we can see that we've got a few different screen widths here. So I can change to different views. So mobile. The nice thing is that the unified navigation has had auto reflow for a while. And so it sort of shows up, this is fairly responsive right here. And then the other thing is you can add, oh, it doesn't want me to click anymore. Pretend like that didn't happen. I'm refreshing. There we go. It just took a while. So you can actually add 3 new page widths, or you can add 3 new breakpoints. So by default, we've got desktop, tablet, and mobile. But if you have something else that you have that you want to add new breakpoints, you can add up to 3 more breakpoints for other types of screens. This is Earl asked a question. Does it actually simulate mobile? No. So this is all just breakpoints. So it's just browser width. So we're not simulating a mobile browser or anything like that. This is just about browser widths for now. All right. So I knew we needed a new page called contact entry. What's our next story? I think that was the whole story, right? We're creating a page.
Yep. So technically, the next story is to create the page layout for the contract entry page. And this is supposed to be the page that a user would pull up on their phone or on their tablet real quick at a conference to enter in people's information.
Okay. So let's go ahead and just add a single column layout because it can't hurt us to have a single column layout. So we'll stick that in there. So for me, this feels like a page layout.
It fulfills the requirements. So now on to story number 3. We need to add the form component bundle to the contact entry page.
Yeah, so Paul asked a good question. What's the difference between build responsive and auto reflow rules? Responsive lets you do things with the breakpoints. So you get these breakpoints up there, and then I believe you can reference the breakpoints, and our containers and everything work differently. So Xanadu is out. We had a question, is there a way to get a Xanadu dev instance? You should be able to request a new PDI or upgrade your PDI or upgrade your company's dev instance. So all of that.
And a super important reminder, UI Builder, as of Washington, is now a store released app. So you need to go to the plugins filter navigator menu, aka the application manager plugin area, and upgrade it from the store there. Reese has a good question. Do you have to rebuild the whole page for each breakpoint?
No, so that you don't have a lot of control over the breakpoints. So this is just kind of showing you what it's going to look like. And basically the breakpoints are saying it's going to work differently for different screen sizes, whereas auto reflow is more about zoom than page sizes. Anyway, that's as far as I know about it. As we go, we'll kind of see if there's things we can do with the breakpoints. But let's do this. Well, yeah, I think.
And I forgot to mention the whole point of the app. So this app is I did that on the webpage too when I originally launched it. So the whole point of the app is to have an easy, intuitive interface to use, so that if you're like at Knowledge or another conference and you got to write down people's informations, you can do it into a database. So ideally, this page is going to let us quickly enter in people's information and then be able to save the record, then create a new record from it as well.
Yeah, so we will, so breakpoints are handled in the components, and we'll kind of talk about some of the other stuff as we go through there. So I think we're adding a form component here, right?
Yes.
All right, so we're gonna do, there are a few different form things you can add. We're gonna add, I think, is this the form bundle? Yeah, so we're gonna add the form bundle, which is gonna add lots of different parts of the form to my page. It's multiple components. So we're going to add the form bundle. It's going to add a controller for me, and it's going to say, hey, this controller uses a bunch of URL parameters. Do you want to add those to the page? And I'm going to say, yeah, I wouldn't mind having those parameters on the page. The other thing that it does is it adds some overlays. So there's a modal container and then also popovers. So when you have reference fields and you click on the reference icon and you want to show a little popover, that is there automatically. So let's go ahead and start by adding some values here, and let's open this in App Engine Studio.
And currently, the only way that you're going to be able to access these tables is through App Engine Studio. But one of the later stories has you create a filter navigation menu item so you can access these tables more directly.
All right.
Look, it's our demo data that I didn't tell Brad about.
So we're going to grab, what's my table name?
I think if you go to preview.
Oh, this is what I want, I think. We'll get there.
No, it's under, okay, go back to data tables and forms.
Why can't I right click on this header? This is the old school way to do it. Ah. Oh no.
No.
I hit undo.
Oh, hey, that's a Washington feature. The ability to undo in UI Builder.
There we go. Whew. All right, let's save. Come on. Why did that? All right, and let's try this again. So I'm going to use my mouse more. Oh. This has to be riveting. All right, search for sysid. There should be some records here. Right. Yeah.
Yeah, there's records.
I just noticed the emoji and the number.
Thanks. It's my favorite. I hope it doesn't break anything in UI Builder, but I guess we're going to find out.
It's not the display value.
Oh, I forgot to set the display value. Whoops. Right. I'll add that to the story, so I'm going to take notes.
All right, so we have a form, and this is, if you have, in a workspace, you can always create a record page and from the template, and it'll do all this for you. But in our use case, we want something that's a little pared down from a record page, since you're just going to be filling out this contact form. And then we wanted it to be responsive, so we needed a net new page that wasn't a record page. And so this was a good use case for just adding the form component bundle itself. One thing I can do is go ahead and edit this form view directly in UIB. This was a Washington feature. And so that's helpful. I'm assuming Gabby has made this the best form ever already. And then we've got our form controller, which is basically what is populating and controlling all of these, all of the values in the form. Was that a whole story?
Well, we want to use this for entering in new records.
We don't have any buttons, huh? Why do we not have buttons? I thought it was supposed to give us buttons. Well, let's see. All right, let's open the URL path. All right, well, that gives us more stuff to do. So we've got a form, but there's other things that we can add to this that have to do with the form. So we can add the action bar, and I'm going to add the action bar before. And so one of the nice things is in the toolbox right here where we have all my components, anything that works with the current controller on the page, so this form controller, is highlighted here. So if we scroll down, there's all sorts of things that I can add that will automatically configure themselves because it's on a form page. So if I add the action bar here, it's going to tell me, hey, this component's using a preset. We went ahead and applied it automatically. I'm going to say, got it. And we already have a save button. The form controller has already populated these properties, and I can always, click on this and set a custom value here instead of using what it populated, but I don't need to do that. So let's save it, and let's test a new one. So is this what we would want the page to look like for a new contact, or would we want less fields on it?
I think we want less fields.
It's a fun use case. Do you have a form view that has less fields on it?
Nope.
All right. Do you have an idea of which fields you want?
Yes.
All right. Well, let's open up Form Builder here and take some fields away.
So we want name. We don't want number since we're not going to be able to enter that in.
All right. Let's add.
So we're going to add a new form view.
I think do we want to duplicate, or how different is it going to be?
Duplicate is fine.
Let's say new. All right. You say we do or we don't want number?
We do not want numbers.
All right. We probably
so then we want, yeah, we don't need reached out. We don't need date met.
Because it's going to auto-populate.
Ideally.
Do we need any of this? We take the...
Let me see. Let's go down the list. Don't remove location met yet, but definitely remove photo. Remove. Do we have phone number? Okay, we've got phone number. We've got note.
Follow-up action?
Probably. We've got email, job title, company, session attended. That should be under event information. Yep.
Event name, we're probably auto-populating. How's this look?
Let me see. I think that looks good to me. But maybe we should just make it all into single column since it's going to be accessible through the phone, or do we want to test what that looks like in responsive?
I believe it will auto adjust into single column, and I think it would do that even before responsive.
Oh.
So let's save that, and then now what we need to do is, I think we probably want two different variants, one for new and one for existing. What do we think? We could also change the view based on the sysid. Let's do two different variants because I think we're going to want different buttons and stuff too for a new one and an existing one.
Yes.
So do we think there's anything else that's going to be consistent between these two pages before I duplicate this variant?
Well, so this was supposed to be just the entering a new record page.
Okay, so the existing form page, we're going to use the out-of-the-box record page?
Yes.
It won't be responsive though.
Correct.
Okay. So we'll just change the view on the controller here. Where was it? There. So right now, it's going to automatically use this workspace conference notes. And I believe that's probably because, let's go look. Let's see if there is a page property that has that value. I'm guessing there is. So App Engine Studio probably did this automatically. View. Yeah. So this is a good note to make when you're working with workspaces. One of the common questions that we get is like, how do I use a different view or something like that? And by default, all of your workspace pages are going to point to whatever view is specified in this UX page property. And so I can come in and change this, but I think for the most part, we do want to use this view. It's just on one page, we want it to be a different view. So in that case, instead of using the view that's being pulled from the page properties here, all right, so another thing is all of these 17 UX page properties, their values are all available to you right here, in addition to one more, which may be, it doesn't matter. But yeah, these are all the values that are available to you. Where you set these is the UX page properties for your experience. So what we're going to do is we're going to come in here and change that view using the pencil to new. And do we think that worked? That was the view we specified, right? Yeah.
Yes, that looks right to me.
All right. I love that delete everything button. That's great. Do we have more buttons there? Anyway. Did we finish this one? Did we test it?
We need we do need like a new. So when the user navigates to this app or to this page, they should be able to see a new form submit ready to go. How would we do that?
Like this.
So another story that we have to do is to create the L1 menu button to lead to this page.
Let's do it.
Let's go ahead and do that. That one is going to
page.
be.
Where's my...
I'm going to put the story number in the chat so Earl can put it on the screen. And the L1 menu is what we call the menu on the left side there that has the little buttons. And this is where you go to edit it. How did you get here?
It changed, actually. So I went to view experience settings. I think there used to be a pill up here. There's another thing that I noticed when we get back into the page editor that changed that I like a lot. So in here, we should have access to all of the pages. Where Analytics Center? Am I just missing it?
Nope, it's second one. Second from the top.
I was just missing it. Okay, contact entry, the icon.
Do like a little person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Circle user.
That first one's cute.
The label, let's just be boring and call it contact entry. And then I think being at the top is fine. I do want to move it. Do I have to save first? There we go.
And then did you put the -1?
I did not.
Oh, I'm sorry. Spoiler alert.
How do I do that?
We might have to go to advanced settings and go to the
You're
route.
right. You are
Earl, can we clip that? Just the you're right. I just need it for team meetings.
Wonderful. So route info, I think, is where we want that. And contact entry. Let's see what happens if we don't have it.
There? Okay.
Because I don't even think it's going to know the table we want. Let's
it won't.
I think it's doing this because this was the last thing we did. Contact.
So this should still be going to the OG record page.
Yeah. Did we hard code it in there, or is it just taking? I feel like we need to pass it, although we're not going to be able to test that. Oh well, we'll worry about that later. That works now. True development.
It's fine until UIT says otherwise.
Yeah. Yeah, Reese, we can add those things. It just works without doing it. So no, I do think we will need to add those, but I don't know the syntax off the top of my head, and there's not a great way to test it since it's going to link there anyway. So what's our next story?
Next story is, well, can we test creating a record? We still can't create a new record, I think.
Could do that.
Sorry.
Here we go. Sorry, somebody's at my door. I lost my train of thought. I was going to do something funny, but I forgot.
So then how do we save it?
With the save button. It's just off screen right now.
Okay, so next story. When I hit save, I want to display a confirmation message.
There are a couple of ways we can do that. We could do that with a business rule because it should show business rules. Or we could do something with the form controller. Let's do it both ways. I guess we'll go to business rules. Or that is the right way to show a message, right?
I thought we could pop open a modal using an event.
A modal that they have to
Yeah.
dismiss?
Yes.
Why do we need a modal?
Why do we need a lot of these stories? To learn, Brad.
No, that's a good point. I think a modal is probably like for a success message, you generally don't want to make the user do something unless like they really need to know, that you want them to acknowledge something. So I
That's a
think
great point. The reason why is I was thinking they could have like an interceptor or something showing congratulations, it's been created. Do you want to view the record or do you want to create a new one? So that way you can click
wonderful
through
use
things.
case. Is that one of the use cases?
That was the modal use case.
Okay. Maybe I'll read those before saying it was a bad idea. Right.
No, you're doing this blind. You dropped a great nugget of wisdom. You're good.
So we want a modal that says, hey, you created this thing. Do you want to go to that record or do you want to create a new record?
Yes.
All right. So let's give it some sort of header. This is where I get annoyed. So because we're on the form page, it's automatically going to add presets. Actually, this one works.
Yeah, that works.
That person. So we'll just leave it there. We'll pretend like I did that on purpose. And then I don't think I'm going to put anything in the footer. So we just want, do we want 2 buttons?
Maybe in the body we could put a message, has been successfully created. And then in the footer, we can put the 2 buttons, one on the left, one on the right.
So I'm going to get rid of that preset.
And for those of you who are new, Brad is the single biggest user of the stylized text component, to the dismay of one of our designers, apparently.
I think he's come around to it. Yeah, so I'm going to use a concat component or formula here because I want to show the number that got created and then has been created. So let's go data resources, form controller, form fields. We're not returning the number. Why don't we have the number? We're going to have to change that to return the number, but for now, I guess we'll just use the name again. And we'll say we could say contact for, but let's just do that. Let's make it a paragraph. Nope, that's too little. That's the same size. There we go. And so you want 2 buttons that says
create new record or go to created record.
Yeah. All right. So let's do that in the footer and we'll do a 2-column layout. And we'll add a button that says sorry, I may or may not have the Olympics on up in the corner. It's not looking great for USA basketball. Can I center this from here? Yeah, there we go. Do I want them centered? Do I want the left one on the left and the right one on the right?
Left on the left, right on the right.
All right. So the button, let's go left button. We want to do something new. The right button will close this out and just leave us on the record. So let's say create new.
Well, I want to take them to the record page, not just stay on this page.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we can do that too.
Thank you.
Oh, actually, we're going to do. Oh, I forgot. You can't drag and drop inside of modals.
Oh.
I raised that with the UIV team, and there was a like really complicated technical answer to why that's not possible.
Oh no.
We may solve it at some point, but it was not as straightforward as I had hoped. All right, and then I'm not renaming any components here because I'm kind of lazy, but generally, I always think it's a good idea, especially with buttons, to rename them to say what they do, because as you can imagine, like this is a fairly simple page, but we have a bunch of stuff on here. And so I would always rename my modal to say what the modal does. And then anything where I have multiple of the same component, like stylized text or buttons, I would rename those so that they're more easily identifiable here.
And where would you rename those?
Let's rename this one. Go to form.
Something very important to know is once you rename your component, any references to that component aren't really dynamic. You're going to have to go back and rename stuff. So you should rename your data resources. You should rename your components right as you're creating them, so you don't end up having to fix stuff up later once you go back and rename everything.
Why did my modal go away?
When in doubt, refresh. When in doubt, clear cache.
There we go.
There it is. Look at those buttons.
Oh, they're stacked.
Oh.
Why are they? Oh, it's because it's responsive. And that mode. There we go. That's real funny.
That is hilarious.
Because we built a responsive page, and the width here is small. Let's render it and see if it does that in the browser. But I wonder if there's a way to do something with the breakpoints in my. Yeah, that's a good point, Reese. I could just use two things here. Anyway, for now, we just want it to work, and it doesn't have to look that great. I'm going to say the story's done, and somebody can come back to me and tell me. What are we doing?
We're the worst.
So go to record.
Yes.
All right, so let's go ahead and add some actions. So create new contact. Oh, there's a, let's see if this is going to work. So we'll go link to destination. Title. So we want the contact entry. It's going to be whatever that table was. Nope. And what just happened? I do not think it liked your emoji there.
Really?
So what is the name of our table? And society is going to be -1. And that looks good. but we lost our button title.
Wait, why are you doing the -1 on the go to record page?
Because I clicked on the wrong button.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
There we go. Third time's a charm here.
This is all on purpose, just to make sure people understand.
That's right. Okay, so this one is going to take us to the record in ServiceNow. SysID of -1 means it is a new form. So that works in both UIs. So we'll add that. I'm going to go ahead and save just because. And then
This is why you rename your buttons, everybody.
Yeah, so let's delete that one. I guess I could have just changed it. And this one is going to link to our record page.
Oh, and how are we going to get the SysID?
I think we have it. Let's grab it from the record data resource. We'll go table. And then SysID.
Isn't that what's in the URL parameter, though? We're not going to have that.
Well, we are, because when we save the record, it's going to refresh. And then on the refresh, we're going to pop this modal, I think.
Okay.
So now we do need to decide how we're going to pop this modal. So there's a couple of ways. Let's try both of them. So one of them is we can use the form controller. The form controller has a ton of events and event handlers, right? So it's got all sorts of things. And so if we just kind of look through them, I think there's a record.
And while he looks for that, I just want to stress, if your UI builder does not look like what we have right now, where the form controller data resource is a little box that we can maximize and minimize, your UI builder is not the latest version. So you should definitely go ahead and upgrade it using the application manager. And there's instructions for that on the homepage. Although technically Xanadu has a version of this that already looks like that. Asterisk, I guess this is just for Washington if you're using a Washington PDI. How are they doing?
Looks good for Team USA. All right. So this is what I want to do. Oh, I did want to call this out. There's a lot of like little things that we're always improving about UIB. Our design team is incredible. The product team is really good. But one of the things that they did was give us some more screen real estate. We've completely gotten rid of this left bar. And so everything is on this bar up here. So my little options to duplicate variant are no longer on a different row. So we're really trying to consolidate things, make it easier to use with each version.
Brad, what is that button in the very top right corner of the UI Builder menu?
We can go dark mode. And then I think it also changes it for everything, right?
Wait, really?
Maybe not. I thought it did.
Oh, good.
Oh, it's weird that it only does it for UIB. Anyway.
Immediately turns it off.
I am a light mode guy. I know, like, I'm not a real developer because of it, but
no. I used to be dark mode person too, but then for once it's not me getting deleted out of the shot. Yes. That our intern likes to mess with us like that. And yes, that's live. But no, I used to also be dark mode person, but then I realized astigmatism is a lot easier. It's light mode is a lot easier on your eyes if you have astigmatism.
All right, we're gonna run a quick test here. So we're just gonna create a new contact. It's a boring one.
Did you refresh this page?
I believe it's refreshed.
Okie dokie.
We can. So if I save, the URL should change, right? Okay, so let's see. We're gonna have to do a little bit of experimenting with the events that we want, but I think we're gonna want that form submit completed. And so here we want to open or close a modal. And we're gonna use custom one that I renamed. And then use the same event handler to close a modal dialog, and you just click on that button. So let's go add. Let's save. And then let's see when that happens. And I can use the UIB preview for something like this, but I kind of want to see what the URL does.
Yep, it was just looking at the most recent one we were using. We didn't actually make that route work.
Yeah. So go contact 2. All right, so this did change and we did get our modal.
Nice.
So, and it goes away. All right. So let's make our modal do some stuff. How much time do we have left? Yeah, we're good. So we did it already. That's right. Should we fix our little guy? Let's do that in a minute.
Yeah, I'm looking for the right syntax right now.
All right, so let's save. So if I go create new contact, there, I need to close the modal. That's right. So that one worked, and then we'll make the modal close, and then we will also see if the record page one works.
Up.
Where was it?
Third from the top, isn't it?
There we go. My eyes don't work.
You should use dark mode.
Why did our button title not?
Yeah, your button does not want to stay. Whoa.
It's some cache issue.
When I realized you can add multiple actions to be a result of an event firing, it blew my mind.
All right. We already, let's do 5. So we'll save it. So we did that one. So go to the record page.
Nice.
That's our record page.
Nice.
So let's fix our little guy here. And that was here.
Every time I need to remember how to do this, I always look up your old CreatorCon lab.
Oh yeah. I don't even really remember. I think it's fields. And then what are we at? 1, 2, 3, 4. And I think we go table. Oh. And is it sysid? Which sysid is it? Sysid like that. Okay. And then I keep forgetting the table name.
Don't worry, same.
Did I close this? I don't think so.
Yeah, there you go.
Does that look right? Yeah,
It kind of looks right to me.
I think that's right. So here's our test. Let's do a hard refresh. It is not working. Go home and then try it from there. All right, somebody tell me, did I do this wrong? Did I misremember how this works? So let's troubleshoot this the way that I normally would, which is looking at one of the out-of-the-box workspaces. And I think we can guess that SOW did this in a weird way. Not a weird way, but they have more stuff. It's a tab. That's toolbar. Route info. Viewport info. No.
No.
All right, let's do. All right, so maybe some of them have something in there. How about CSM? Yep, so CSM does it the same way.
Could it be aggressive caching?
Could be. I have been clearing the cache on refresh here. I don't really want to clear the instance cache. Well, I think we're at a stopping point anyway, but let's go home and clear the cache. All right, that worked. So let's open, save, go to record page, go to the home page. No, it didn't work. That's all right.
What this oh my gosh, I forgot to do this at the start. Good news, everybody. The tagline of the show is sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, and this time it didn't. So
we'll get it figured out.
For those of you, yeah, we'll get it figured out. For those of you who are new to the show, the number one goal of this is not only to teach you guys how to use UI Builder and increase the adoption of the products, because that's what makes my bosses happy, but to also show you guys kind of what real development looks like. Because I know when I was starting out, I looked around at the Brads of the world and I was like, he's got this sys context menu dot walking data resource stuff memorized, and I will never get to that level. But thank you so much for walking through those stories today, Brad.
Yeah.
I didn't think we would get to so few of them. So that's good news. We still have content for next time. Be sure to tune back in for part 2 of this series. And the final part of the series, it is going to be on August the 22nd at the same time, 4 p.m. Eastern. Any closing words for you, Brad?
I did want to say something. Paul had asked about, are there any checks to see if the record already exists to avoid creating duplicates? And I wanted to address that and say, I wouldn't. I try to do as little data validation as possible in UIB, because generally there are different ways to create and update records. So generally, if you want to enforce uniqueness, I mean, there's a checkbox on the field that will work. But you could have context getting created through an integration, through classic environment and workspace and mobile. And so for data validation, you really want to lean more heavily on the server side of things. So, UIB is really just the presentational layer, and I would not want to do too much of that type of control through UIB itself.
Dropping some knowledge. Thank you very much, Brad. And thank you guys so much for hanging out in the chat. We had a really nice active chat today. Be sure to go and try this out on your own. This video will be available for viewing immediately after we're done going live. And then post your successes or your struggles or your story on LinkedIn and make sure to tag me in it so I can keep track of it. You can provide feedback, whether that be new stories, new ideas, or how things should change in the GitHub repository discussions. There's a lot of updates I'm already going to go back in and try to make before this weekend. And thank you so much, Brad, for going through that with us. And thank you guys very much for watching. See you guys on the 22nd. Bye.